Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OFR Shows Division Round 3 at Suzuka at Japan. Coincidentally, again, the real life race of Japan is happening today. So if you're watching, you can enjoy both the OFR F1 race and the real life F1 race as well. In real life, of course, Max Verstappen was on pole with his teammate Sergio Perez occupying him in the front row. Will we see a repeat of that by the Red Bull team today? Probably not, but of course, there is always the chance. Lefkier, the man who was on pole the last two times, but Focus, the winner at Australia, was able to interrupt his dominance. Will we see that continue today? Will we see someone like Tim Blacher, Workada, or King Mural sort of get an unlikely win? Or will we see those two duke it out for the rest of the season? So immediately off the bat, something wrong with Tim Blage as he has retired from the session, so he will not be setting a time. I don't believe that he has a qualifying ban, as I'm one of the stewards, and I think I would know about something like that. But it might be an issue with the game, or or just a skill issue from him. As I believe the first one out is Tommy. Yep, he is. So Tommy in the Aston Martin is the first one out on track with his teammate and championship leader Lefkier right behind. So Tommy will be the first one to set his lap time as he comes through the Sector 2 timing line and through the famous 130R corner, one of the best corners on the entire calendar. Infamous for that Alonso overtake. But before we get into the laps really quickly, let's look over the championship standings. The lead team is Men in Black, or Aston Martin, with 94 points, a commanding lead ahead of Mercedes, who have 79 points. And then Popeye's Giggity Gears, or McLaren, with 57. Red Bull with 56. Alfa Romeo with 51. Williams and Haas tied on 45, with Alpine only 1 point behind in P8 with 44. And Alpha Tauri or Mad Force with 31. Then Scuderia Stake F1 team with 19 in dead last. Meanwhile, Left gear was given the win in Australia, and Tommy has invalidated his lap. Left gear was given the win in Australia after an incident with Focus. So Focus will have to suffice for second place, which in one race will get him P8 in the championship. And Artur Kostrewa is behind Lefkier, who picked up a podium in Bahrain. Third place finish for him, and then I believe it was fourth place in Australia, and that's enough to get him P2. Meanwhile, Monkey Man Matt in the Haas is P3, and then there is I'm not sure who's in fourth, but I can see that Luca is in fifth, and then Show Crime is in seventh, along with Dylan, and also I believe that's NL Carr in sixth. Anyway, Left gear coming through the final chicane, putting his pedal to the metal, and he's going to come across the line first. It will be a 28.3 is the benchmark. We have another car right behind him. That is Dr. Robot with a 29.861, but Focus absolutely smashes that time out of the water with a 27.7. Still not what I would expect to be pole today. We had a couple drivers flaunting times in the low 27s in practice and time trial. So I definitely think Focus has time in this, but this being in no assists league, I can imagine it's pretty hard to navigate these fast S's with ABS disabled. Meanwhile, Blue Phoenix in the Ferrari has gone sixth, and Show Crime, I believe, that's probably an unrepresentative lap time for the Red Bull with a 31.8. Same with Dylan with a 42.7. And Monkey Man Matt beats his teammate by, look at that, half a hundredth of a second ahead of, his former teammate Focus, 27.732. So we haven't really seen Monkey Man Matt be maybe as competitive as we expected him to be this season. especially with Lefkier winning by 13 seconds in Bahrain or somewhere in that ballpark. I think with what like off the back foot of last season, focus wasn't at the first race, and we sort of thought maybe Monkey Man Matt was going to take over. That Alpha Tauri duo was very unstoppable last season. We haven't really seen him shine that much, but it's a good display from him so far, and that'll land him on provisional pole. And the Alpine of Luca with a 29 flat will take the second row, P4. Wukarda on the third row with P5 with a 29.202, which is the same time that Tommy has just set. But the rule is Tommy did set it later, at a later time than Wukarda, so Wukarda will keep the position in P5, and Tommy is demoted to P6. Matt Missile in the Alpine, 30.6, so he's put his car ahead of Blue Phoenix. That's good for Matt Missile, who we've seen struggle recently with penalties as well at Australia, and at Bahrain, I believe he got lapped, so would be nice to see Matt Missile get a hint of form. Marco, I believe, the only other driver on a lap, but he's backed off. He's abandoned. He's going to let that Alpine by of Matt Missile. Everyone else in the pits still, so yet to set a lap. Branch Schnitzel, Shadow Ben, who is just coming out of the pits now. King Mural as well. And then Ace, Artur Kostrewa, and Reshkon. Artur Kostrewa only likes to do 2 runs in qualifying, which I find interesting. Obviously, it is a strategy to save the extra soft tire for the race, but this is Japan, the very, very abrasive circuit, as Crofty said in real life. Not a good race tire for the softs, and not a good race tire in general. Shadow Ben locks up into the second of the Degners and finds his way into the gravel trap, but his car remains unharmed. He's just going to have to get the marbles out of the car as Lefkier is back out on an outlap. Same thing with Dr. Robot. So we would definitely see Lefkier improve. Meanwhile, Showcrime has gone third fastest, so he's improved this time, and those are on used. That was on a used set of soft, so that was his second run. And the drop off, again, from the first lap even to the second lap, but really all the way to the third lap, is immeasurable for the soft compound tire. I mean, they burn about 6% a lap if you're pushing with them, and for a 27 lap race, that's a bit crazy. So Showcrime absolutely has more time than that as well, and if you receive tow down the long straight from your teammate, that can absolutely help you out. Shadow Ben in the Haas coming through the chicane here. He's going to start his time left here, not far behind. You can see him coming through Spoon there up to 130R. He's about to start his lap as well. Let's ride on board with Shadow Ben as he heads through turn 1. Turn 1 usually just a slight lift. Sometimes you can take it flat out, and he goes a little bit wide through turn 2, but carries a good amount of speed through 3 and 4 now. This is a low grip zone as he goes over the curb in 4, but he's kept the car going straight through 5 and 6 now. Again, very low grip here. If you just go too early on the gas, you can spin. Now 7, go and touch the curb, but don't touch it too much. It's one of those curves where you can get locked onto it. And Shadow Ben sector 1 time, he's at 33.4. That's not going to be great as he comes through the Degners. And now into the hairpin here. Suzuka, of course, the only track where a car can be on top of another car and not in the way you will think. Before you head into the hairpin there, you go under another portion of the track. So Suzuka is the only track to be clockwise and counterclockwise in the same circuit layout, as Shadow Ben comes through Spoon here, but he just can't carry enough speed. Now coming down this back straight, he's got an Alpha Tauri in front of him as he's going to head through 130R, and that's his teammate in the background. Shadow Ben with a 114 through sector 2. He's going to come through the last chicane here, a little bit wide on the entry, but Shadow Ben nicely on the power. He's going to cross the line. Where is that going to put him? That's going to put him in P13 with a 131.7. So definitely improvements to be made in sector 1 for him. Meanwhile, Left Gear is up a whole second through sector 2. Now, if he just keeps this lap going, this will be closer to a representative pole time. It'll be in the low 27s. Left Gear crosses the line. It's going to be 27.288. So he lost a bit of time in sector 3. Actually, he lost about a tenth in sector 3. And I still don't think that that's his best lap or the best lap we'll see all session long. because Monkey Man Matt has just done a 27.6 on a 3-lap old soft. And for comparison, a 3-lap old soft is about maybe 11-12%, even with a nice cooldown lap where you're sort of nursing the tires. It is still absolutely 4 or 5 tenths off the pace. So I don't know. I think we can expect big things from some of these guys. Ricarda again deciding to stay out on the tires and not boxing for a new set. Improves his time, goes P6 ahead of Dylan. A lot of guys on their outlaps or their flyers right now. Let's go down to Marco, who's on his time, sitting with Reshkone. So both of the Alpha Towers are on a lap. Reshkone with a 113 in sector 2. So he's going to be around Matt Missile or Blue Phoenix's time. He's going to cross the line, not really brushing up on the right side like you would want to, and he goes ahead of Shadow Ben with a lackluster sector 3. Meanwhile, Marco with a 32 flat through sector 1, heading through the Degners, and then now into the hairpin. Let's see what he can do. And Archer Australia, by the way, has gone P4. So let's see. I think Showcrime's on a lap. He's going to get a little bit of tow from the Alpine, but really what that is here is dirty air. What you don't want through these S's is to be in the dirty air of a car ahead, and basically kind of screws your lap over. So that Alpine of that is not Luca, that is Matt Missile, really should have moved over and let him by if he wasn't on a push lap himself. Meanwhile, Luca's lap is looking pretty decent with a 31.5 through sector 1, and nicely done around the first and the second Degner. So he's up 6 tenths on his original time. That would put him at a 28.4 in P6, but I'm going to take the assumption that he has more time in his lap, looking nicely through the hairpin. As long as you can carry a nice amount of speed through that hairpin, you won't lose time. But where many drivers struggle is just slowing down and then turning the car in, and it won't turn all the way. Coming through Spoon here, Luca looking like he can carry a good amount of speed through there, maybe a little bit of wide, almost running wide. He's going to get a bit of a tow from that is his teammate, but they've not synchronized it perfectly. Not sure if that was even on purpose, but he's up 1.2 seconds. That would be a 27.8, 27.7, so that would land him nicely in the second row. But if he can improve a little bit, he might just edge out Monkey Man Matt a little bit deep into the chicane, and some problems coming onto the power. So Luca's going to lose a lot of time through there, and he's going to lose 8 tenths of a second because of that. I mean, I thought maybe half a second at most. Meanwhile, Dylan is in the gravel there at turn 3. And Monkey Man Matt starting his lap, I believe. Let's ride on board with him. No, he's backed off this lap, I think. He's in 6th gear. Yeah, I don't think he's pushing. So Showcrime starting his lap again. We saw him put in a good lap, a 28.2, and now he's going at it again in that Red Bull, carrying a good amount of speed through turn 4. A better performance from the driver than we've seen all year, and that might be a commentator's curse there. I'm not sure if he's going to back off the lap or continue. He's got a Ferrari absolutely impeding his way, but he's down about a second, so I think he's going to back off. Meanwhile, Tommy has just set a 28.5 to put him ahead of the 2 McLarens. King Mural, I'm not sure if he's on a lap. I don't think he is. No, he isn't. Luca, no. NL Car, no. So who is actually on a lap right now? Is Monkey Man Matt going to be on another one? I think, yeah, Monkey Man Matt is going to be on a flyer in a moment. He's got a Mercedes behind him. I don't think anyone else that's sort of in contention for pole is on a lap, unless someone from the bottom of the field pulls out an amazing lap. So let's go with Monkey Man Matt in the Haas. He's starting his lap. ERS on, DRS on, down the straight as he heads into turn 1. Let's see, will he take this one flat out through turn 1, the corner where Kimi Räikkönen made his famous overtake on Giancarlo Fisichella for the win in the Suzuka Grand Prix that year. And Monkey Man Matt going really wide in turn 2, using all of the track, but not track limits, so he can continue his lap now through 5. And this lap looks pretty decent from the Haas, swerving all around 6 and 7. He's going to get let by that Aston Martin. And what is his sector 1 time? It is a 31.3, so it's a pretty good sector 1 time, but he's down half a tenth and a bit slow through Degner 2 there. But he's going to head into the hairpin and see if he can find some more time in the Haas. He needs 3.5 tenths for P1. And I'm going to assume that a lot of that is going to be in Sector 2 and Sector 3 for Monkey Man Matt. Coming through Spoon here now. The Haas, not as fast, I don't think, as we saw Luca earlier. So this lap time might not be the best what Monkey Man wanted, but he's going to get a nice bit of tow from the Mercedes here, but he's going to have to move off the line very rapidly. So he was up half a tenth, and that tow got him a nice bit of time, but he's pretty much just lost it all back with that swerve off the line. Maybe a bit slow through the chicane, but nice and quick on the power. What will that time be? It'll be a 27.4. So he found some time in the final chicane there, but it just wasn't enough. In a 27.4, we'll put him P2 for now. But that is if Focus or Artur Kashrewa or Show Crime can improve. They're all coming out of the pits just now, and this track is going to be incredibly full. Look at that. Outlap, 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 outlap. Everyone is on an outlap, and Monkey Man Matt as well. We've seen him do this before with the tires. He can nurse the tires sort of back to health. He doesn't have time to go back to the pits and switch off his tires, but if he can recharge the pack, maybe can go for another lap, but I just genuinely don't think that he'll be able to do another good lap, as Ace has retired on track after nudging the wall there, and he won't be able to set a time. And now it is APSR, Brand Schnitzel, the first one to cross the line. We have an AlphaTauri behind him as well. I think that's Resh Cohn, who will be starting his lap. But Brand Schnitzel yet to set a time. Let's see what he can do. Narrow line through 2, now 3, taking it cautiously a bit wide through 4 now, coming through 5 in the Alfa Romeo. I believe this is his first appearance, and anything is better than not having a time for Brand Schnitzel here. His Sector 1 time is going to be a 31.5. So for the fact that he took that pretty cautiously, I think that is a good lap time. That would see him near the top 10, or in the top 10, near the McLarens as he comes through the hairpin there. We've got a boatload of drivers starting their lap times as well. We got a McLaren there, a Haas, Williams, an Alpine, another Haas, an Aston Martin, a Red Bull, and a Ferrari, just all crossing the line. Brand Schnitzel coming through Spoon here. It's important to hit the apex, which he has not done there. It's a wide line, but it allows you to carry more speed. So some drivers do elect to pick that line. Brand Schnitzel across the Sector 2 timing line. It'll be a 10, no, it'll be an 11.2. So still a competitive time for the Alfa Romeo. Narrow line through 130R now. All he has left is the chicane. Can he keep the car nice and steady as he rumbles over the rumble strip there? But that looked like one of the fastest lines through the chicane all day. Brand Schnitzel crosses the line. That'll be P5 right behind his teammate Artur Trewa, who's backed off his lap, I believe. So the best he can do is P4, and he retires on track, which is sort of an issue here. But Focus now, the other contender for pole position. He was up half a tenth through Sector 1. Is he improving through Sector 2? He is not. He is down 8 thousandths of a second. So Left Gear may have taken pole position if Focus cannot pull something extraordinary out of the back here, coming through the chicane, and I don't think so. Will it be enough to beat maybe Monkey Man Matt, though? Focus crosses the line. It's going to be a 27.7, so he improves his time, but not his position. And Show Crime in a bit of traffic, but he's up 2 tenths. He is up 2 tenths with 11.2, so this could improve his position all the way up to P5. That would be his best qualifying position all season, but a very narrow line through the exit of the chicane there, going over the curb. But I still think he has it in him. Show Crime crosses the line, but it's P6, and he improves 2 tenths with a 27.999. And Blue Phoenix, the only one left on the lap, but he's going to come in the pits. So there it is. Left Gear takes your 3rd consecutive pole of the season, but the margins are a lot closer. And meanwhile, look at this. King Mural with a banging lap, a 27.665, will put his McLaren on the 2nd row of the grid for P3. And Left Gear will take pole position, 27.288. Monkey Man Matt, 27.471. King Mural, 27.665. Focus, 27.7. Show Crime and Artur will share the 3rd row with 27.9s each. 28 flat for Brand Schnitzel and Luca. Wukarda and Tommy, 28.3, 28.5. Dylan with a 28.6, so he wasn't able to improve on a time he set earlier on the session. Same thing with Dr. Robot, who had a 28.8 down in P12, and we'll get to see the standings again just momentarily. But honestly, a pretty bad race for or pretty bad qualifying for Mercedes, who find themselves currently in P2. 11th and 13th for the two Dutchmen. Not a great show, but we have seen them do better historically in the race. So obviously the point system in OFR is different this season. So I believe you score points down to 20th, but of course the big chunk of points comes where points come in real life in the top 10. So the two Mercedeses ideally want to find themselves there with NL Car on the 7th row of the grid. That is the 7th row, yes. Occupied by him and Marco, who is 3/10 back, and Blue Phoenix and Matt Missile in the 30s, and Reshkone, Shadow Ben. I don't think either of them were able to do really representative time. And then Ace on 19th, and Tim Blaish will be starting from the back for what seems like no reason. Let's see if he is complaining in Discord chat, but I don't think he is. And some complaining going on about blocking and impeding. Somebody saying that he got blocked by an AlphaTauri, and I did see a lot of people just sitting on the racing line very nonchalantly on out laps or in laps when there are people behind them on hot laps. So that might be an issue that is needed to be addressed. But in the meanwhile, let's talk about race strategies. Let's see what we can expect to see in this race. Hard to medium or medium to hard is really the only viable strategy around here. I know OFR drivers think like that they can do two stoppers. I'm talking about you, Tim Blaish, or they think that they can extend the soft tire, but I'm telling you that soft tire is terrible. So do not use it. Only the volatile use of the soft tire is if there is a safety car, a late safety car, or a very early safety car, and you have to switch to a two stop. Then you can use it. Then I will allow you to use the soft tire, but I will make fun of you if you use a soft tire as a race strategy and you lose positions because of it. But medium hard tends to be the default strategy I think that people use around here. Hard medium is also viable, but the only issue with that is early safety car, like lap 8 ish safety car, which is what happened to me really. I did hard medium, lap 8 safety car. You know, you sort of have to box for mediums because at that point a two stop is just too slow, and I box. You know, obviously I'm pushing on the mediums, and then boom, lap 27 I get a puncture, and you know, kind of ruins my race. But that is the case with pretty much any track on the F1 calendar. That is the risk you take on hards. And of course, the risk you take on mediums is that you get a safety car, you know, maybe around lap 14 or 15 when you've already boxed and the hard runners are still out, and they get a free stop. So that is the gamble. If you're willing to take it, it'll work out. As Reshkone and Ace already disqualified for the from the session, so they will not be able to park in. Wow. You know, I'm disappointed. If I see a two-stop happen here, I'm actually leaving. Like, I'm not joking. So half the grid seems to have not taken my advice. 20 drivers, of which 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That I counted that right. 8, 9, 10, 11 starting on the softs, which is the most we've seen all season. One driver, that is Ace, starting on the hards, and then the other 7, other 8, Arthur, Luca, and then this pack down here from 10th to 13th, Dylan, Tommy, Dr. Robot, NL Car, and Blue Phoenix, and then Tim Blaish will all start on the mediums. I mean, if they think they can pull it off, go for it, but those soft tires will absolutely die. I mean, we did see good tire conservation from like Monkey Man Matt and Show Crime in qualifying, being able to stretch that tire out to the capacity that you can do a cool down lap in between 2 push laps, and then, you know, on a 10% 2 lap 3 lap tire, be able to do another run and it be faster than your original run. Obviously, you know, Track Evolution comes to mind when you're thinking of improving just solely off doing the same lap, but at different times. But that is still an impressive feat. So even in especially now we're in equal cars again, it's a bit easier to do what's it called, um, to manage your tires. But it's still going to be really hard for the softeners. I think softeners are going to have to box lap 12 at the latest, and by that point your tires are going to be like 70%. Um, so wow, so it's saying soft, medium, hard as one of the viable strategies. I don't think that's has any chance of working. But we'll see. The top four are all starting on softs. So my prediction is Artur Kostreva P1, Luca P2, and Tommy P3. No, I'm just joking. But all the cars have lined up now on the grid. We only see that Ferrari there in the back, and he just got disqualified. That parking angle was a bit crazy. But for the third time this season at Suzuka, here in Japan, 4, 5 red lights. And it is lights out, and away we go here. Left gear pulls away nicely. Will Monkey Man Matt get alongside? There's a Ferrari in the background who's got onto the grass. That is Blue Phoenix, and the lead of the race has not changed. But Focus tries to sweep around the outside of his former teammate, but fails to do so. And every position has stayed the same in the top 6. And Alcar has overtaken Dr. Robot down for 12th. And what's happening with Tim Blaish? Tim Blaish into the gravel, and he's back down to 20th from where he was in 13th. He made up a couple positions on the start there, but lost all of them back as now Wukarda and Luca are battling. Same with Dylan and Tommy, wheel to wheel there, but Degner is just too narrow for them to go wheel to wheel. And that was a Aston Martin who went off the track there, but Tommy has managed to keep it within the lines. Are any moves into the hairpin? I don't think so. We see actually that Tommy. Yeah, that's Tommy who was defending from NL Car, but NL Car through he goes, and the two Mercedes are up 2 positions each to 10th and 11th now. And now Tommy has to worry about Marco behind. Look at this, up to 130R. Is Marco going to turn on the ERS and use the slipstream on the Aston Martin? He absolutely is, and he is gaining on the Aston Martin. He's on the better tires, but he's just not close enough. Tommy, I'm assuming, was using a little bit to defend. And let's go up to the front now. The gap, now look at them, they're basically touching each other's cars, and Monkey Man Matt has the run on left gear. So is the lead going to change hands? Left gear and Monkey Man Matt both using ERS, and the Haas and the Aston Martin are going to be too wide. Through turn 1, is Monkey Man Matt going to try it? He's gone wide, he's gone off the track. He might claim that he was pushed off, but I don't think there was any contact there between the two. Monkey Man Matt just didn't use enough ERS to get ahead of left gear. Of course, DRS is going to be on next lap. Suzuka only the one DRS straight, the start finish straight, so it won't even be next lap. It'll be lap 4 really that it is turned on. But meanwhile, this top 3 is just so immensely close to each other. A yellow flag in sector 1. That's Tim Blaish again struggling in the S's in turn 4 as he goes off into the gravel, and that is Tim Blaish's race over unless there is a safety car. He's now trailing the rest of the pack by about 10 seconds as Reshkone overtakes Shadowman, even more than that, 20 seconds. And left gear going wide there, that could be a track limits penalty. Suzuka, not really a track where you'll see a lot of track limits penalties, but it is possible at Spoon, where we saw just there a yellow in sector 2, I believe. Not sure who that is. That is Matt Missile. But other than that, not really very many places to pick up a penalty. And Monkey Man Matt had pulled out, or left gear had pulled out 7 tenths to Monkey Man Matt, but that gap is going to shrink right back down to half a second. So Monkey Man Matt, if you're listening, conserve your ERS. Of course, use what you need to do to defend from Focus, but with no DRS, it's going to be pretty hard to overtake left gear. Left gear very quick through the corners, is a great driver, and of course, your setup can be very low wings, and we saw earlier with left gear not ceding the position on the straight. We saw how close they came together, but left gear just held the place, so pretty much pointless to waste ERS. But left gear has already depleted his battery. It's down to 20%. as opposed to the Haas, who is on 50, and Focus, who has pretty much a full pack. Now, King Miro struggling to stay with them. He's fell down to 8/10 now. Same thing with Archer Sherwood, but Archer is on mediums, and something's happened with Dr. Robot here. Dr. Robot into the grapple at the second Degner, and oh, that's very, very close there between him and the Haas, and he's gonna let everyone by. I think he might be stuck on the curb. No, okay. So I don't think resetting to track is allowed, but I believe that the Red Bull was beached, and in which case that is allowed. And look at this, Monkey Man Matt getting very close to the Aston Martin through 130R, but not close enough to go for an Alonso-esque move, which he once famously said, "I knew he would break because he has a wife and 2 kids waiting for him at home." Well, that does not apply in this game, as we see the DRS open for the first time. Monkey Man Matt, look at that, an incredible run on left here, and the lead changes hands. Will even Focus get him? Can he send a move into turn 1? Here comes the Williams, up the inside of the Aston Martin, they touch, there's contact, there's wheel banging, and Focus has spun into turn 2, and that's going to be a yellow flag, but it's not going to be a full course caution safety car, and he's dropped down the order into turn 8, a very, or P8, P9 now, a very cheeky move from the Williams as Tommy tried to overtake Luca and all that madness. A very cheeky move from the Williams, but it did not work out, and Left here has dropped down to P5 now as well. He was in a spin, so he's going to be behind Wukarda now, and Monkey Man Matt, at this point, you would say that he's run away with it. A 2.6 second gap in 4 laps. Will Miro be able to catch him? A shake on the exit of the hairpin. Yellow's in sector 2 again. That is, who is that? Matt Missile? That is Matt Missile in the grass at turn 4, and he's down to the back now. So not a great race for him, and it has not been a great season for Alpine. I believe Luca is pretty much their primary point scorer. Now McLaren in a great position, P2 and P4 here, is absolutely brilliant for them. Of course, Left here is going to be all over the back of Wukarda, that is assuming he has not sustained any damage, and Arthur Kostrewa can now do Monkey Man Matt a huge favor if he pushes and catches up with the McLaren of King Miro ahead and starts fighting him. That could be huge for a potential win for Monkey Man Matt, but it looks like he's holding that gap steady. It's been at about 2.6, 2.7, 2.5 seconds. Oh, and it's now up to 3, and King Miro made a mistake on 2, and that's allowed Arthur to catch up with him a bit as well. So, I mean, now with Left here in focus, I don't want to say they're out of the equation, because look at this. He's all over the back of Wukarda here. He's only about 6 seconds off the lead and about 3 seconds off the podium, which is absolutely doable for a driver of his skill. But with them momentarily out of the equation, this is a whole nother race. And Wukarda, really bad line through Degner 2. Is Left here going to send a move up the inside of the chicane? He feigns one, but he doesn't go for it. Tim Blaish picks up 3 seconds. That would have been a mega move. And I'm sure Wukarda is being told by King Miro to defend like a lion. We cannot let Left here pass, I would assume, is the radio message at McLaren, because King Miro currently chasing a podium that could be all taken away if Left here gets passed too early. But I think Wukarda is doing a good job. The gap has grown from 3.5. Is Left here going to go up the inside of 130R? That is not a place we usually see an overtake, but he doesn't go for it. Up the inside of the chicane, maybe. I think Left gear is just trying to feign moves, get the McLaren to go defensive, get him to lose time, and that's worked very nicely there. Very close through the exit of the chicane there, but I think he's going to get the DRS open, and on lap 6 of 27, he's going to get that overtake done. Meanwhile, in the background, Luca overtaking Show Crime for P6 as well, so strong DRS straight here in Suzuka. But Left gear now 3.6 seconds off Arthur, and Arthur is going to be on objectively the better tires at this point. The crossover is around lap 5 or 6 from the softs to the mediums here at Suzuka, but I think Left gear will still be able to catch him, but it will be a matter of laps. Otherwise, not really much going on, and Show Crime overtaking Luca. We saw yellow flags there, but that is his teammate Matt Missile. I thought it was the other Alpine. Meanwhile, Marco and NL Car fighting. The two Mercs demoted back down to 12th and 14th from where they started the race, and Marco with a huge snap on the exit of Degner 2. Pretty hard corners, to be fair, to get traction on the exit. But look at this, NL Car very close to him, and he's out traction the AlphaTauri. One tire in the grass there. That's how close the margins were. But NL Car up to 11. He's made the move work, and he's going to have to chase down Ace, who, starting from the back of the grid, is now up to P10 and NL Car. Ooh, out of Spoon. He saved that brilliantly. I thought he was for sure into the barriers, but this is allowing Ace to sort of pull away there. And I think they were too wide through 130R, but Ace backed out of the move. He was 2 tires off track, didn't want to get a track limits penalty or, even spin, because he can just get the move done now on the straight here. Look at the straight line speed of that Ferrari. He doesn't even need the tow from the Aston Martin, as he is essentially waved by Tommy PLR, the man in the McLaren last season, now in the Aston Martin, down to P10. And Ace, who we didn't see have much qualifying pace, is now tearing it up in the race. Wow, that's a 3-time rhyme right there. And I am on fire today, Jesus. 2.4 seconds to focus ahead, and I believe, I don't know if those softs are better still. I think those softs are still better than the hards, but Ace is going to absolutely have the better tire at the end of the race. From hards to mediums he will go, whereas the softeners will pit to either hards or mediums. If they do pit to mediums, it'll be about 4-5 laps earlier than what Ace will do, but he is catching. He's taking time out of focus, so fair play to him. And left here is catching King Miro, so I believe he caught about half a second in the last lap and a half. So that means the strike distance is, what is that, 3/10 lap. Lap 17 is the striking, estimated striking point for left gear to King Miro, who has been, by the way, overtaken by Artur Estrella. He missed that, unfortunately, but I'm not sure. Will he be able to get back on him? I think he's just a bit too far back, and I think it's just better for King Miro at this point on the worst tires. Just get towed along on the straights. Don't do anything crazy, and maybe hope something happens to Monkey Man Matt. He has a spin, a crash with one of the back markers or something, and then you can fight, obviously, for the win. Arthur going wide there in 5. That's going to slow him down a bit, heading into 6. So maybe, of course, if the McLaren's close enough, then it is time to strike, but he doesn't want to get held up too much by left gear, who's gained about half a second from that encounter alone. Meanwhile, Focus has caught up to Showcrime and Ricarda. Luca actually lost quite a bit of time. He's down 1.2 seconds. So I don't understand. It's 2 tires off at Degner 2 is a track limits penalty, but that was a pretty harsh penalty for the Alpine there, and he'll be the 4th driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Ace is just taking chunks of time out of him, but for Ace, he needs to catch the DRS. And though the Alpine does not have DRS ahead as of right now, that can all change if Focus decides to send one up the inside of Showcrime. And look at that. He's now within a second, and that's going to hurt Ace pretty badly. It's going to hurt Ace because he's going to lose all the time that he's just gained on him on the straights. And Monkey Man Matt at this point is in all respects. Oh! Whoa! What happened there? So contact between the Williams and the Red Bull, and Showcrime off the track there. Focus was sideways at one point, and now Luca's going to be all over him. I'm not quite sure what happened there. We were riding on board with the Ferrari, so we got a nice view of it. But the inexplicable, I think what happened is that Focus sent one up the inside of Showcrime into the chicane, and maybe just sent it a bit too deep. Had trouble stopping the car or turning in. A Shadowban is disqualified from the session, which is weird. We don't usually see that, for parking the wrong way. And he's parked, I'm not sure where he is parked. And oh, what's happened here? Branch Schnitzel has retired from the session. What has happened? He's in the pits. So Branch Schnitzel in the Alfa Romeo has retired in the pits. So a lot of confusing events happening here in the last couple laps. But he qualified pretty nicely. It didn't seem like he was doing that bad. Maybe he just had an internet issue or something, and he had to retire. other than that, I mean, the grid is pretty spread out. I believe we have Tommy. No, is that Tommy? No, that is Reshkone fighting with Dylan, or Dylan fighting with Marco. And yeah, look at this. Dylan, he's going to turn the ERS on, so he's going to have a bit of a run on the AlphaTauri. Is the AlphaTauri going to move off his line? Here comes Dylan. The Mercedes up the inside of 130R. Oh, but he's going to be ahead by the time the corner comes. That would have been a fantastic overtake. I mean, it was still a great overtake from the Merc, but we want to see you guys go too wide through 130R. We want to see that happen. But I think both drivers taking the sensible route and avoiding a collision, as Marco knows that he's going to get DRS on the straight now. He won't be close enough to the Merc, as those soft tires. Oh my God, he sent one from very far back. And Marco with balls of steel, as Dylan struggling on the traction out of turn 2. An incredible overtake by Marco up the inside of turn 1. He was 2 to 3 tenths back, and he just went for it. He saw the space that the Mercedes was leaving, and he absolutely capitalized on that. What an overtake by Marco. Fair play to him. This has been a great battle. But meanwhile, up in the front, Arthur Castrewa has been taking chunks out of Monkey Man Matt. We saw it was 4.1 seconds a couple laps ago. Now it is down to 3.3. Of course, the medium tire is going to be better now, much better at this point than the soft. But left gear is still catching. He's caught about 4 tenths in the last 2 laps again. So I still stick with my lap 17 prediction unless things happen near the pits. So Monkey Man Matt is going to go for the undercut, and oh, he's locked up into the pits. And I think that is a sensible thing to do. Defend your position. Left gear is going to come in behind him, so King Miro's going to stay out. And I think he's going to take advantage of the toe, which a good decision from him as well. Defend your lead now and suffer the consequences at the end, sure, but you're going to be too far ahead at that point for it to even matter, because at this point, he's going to be like 5 seconds ahead of pretty much everyone else if this undercut works. And left gear, oh, left gear is going to be in traffic here. So left gear's come out in P12 behind Dylan, and that Merc is going to be holding him up. So that's not worked out well for the Aston Martin, as he's going to be held up by cars on tires that are 10 laps older than him. So let's see if he can make his way through. But the next real overtaking zone is into the braking zone of the hairpin, and he's already lost probably half a second, maybe even a whole second. Just look at how close he gets through Degner 2. Is he going to go for a move into the hairpin, though? We could see it happening. He's going to take the wide line around the outside, and look how much traction he has. He's going to completely out-traction the Mercedes, and a good move around the outside. And look at that. He's out-traction the AlphaTauri as well, but he's going to have to switch to the outside, which turns into the inside. I'm not sure why Marco is holding this one so relentlessly, but they're going to go too wide through Spoon, and he's going to have to almost cede the position there to left gear, who's just so much faster. But that encounter, look at that. He's 7.7 seconds down to Monkey Man Matt. And now King Miro and Wukarda, both of the McLaren's pit. I don't think they're too worried about double stacking here. The gap was about 7 seconds back. And King Miro, is he going to come out ahead of Monkey Man Matt? I don't think so. No, he isn't. But it is going to be close. And that white line is actually a lot further up than I expected. So it is going to be about, well, it looks like 5 seconds. 4 seconds. Yeah, it's going to be about 5 seconds for Monkey Man Matt. So I'm not sure if this perfectly worked for King Miro the way he intended. He lost about 2 seconds to him now. But overall, he should be gaining that time back. Yellows. And that's a full course caution safety car. And that is not something you want to see. Matt Missile binned it in the hairpin. And I believe that is what caused the safety car. And he's back up and running. I'm not sure what the big hubbub is at this point. I mean, I'm not. Are we sure that required a safety car? I mean, I think we could have just done a VSC, but that is going to be a full safety car. And this is what I mentioned at the start of the race. If you box early, that is the undercut, but this is the risk that you are willing to pick up a later safety car. And now Arthur Castrewa is going to get a free stop under the safety car.
Same thing with Luca. Well, actually, Luca might not get a free stop. Luca's going to lose a couple positions still. Same thing with Ace. But they're going to have fresher tires than everyone else. And they're going to be ahead of a lot of people. So, like, Luca would have came out probably in P8 or P9 if he wasn't on the... And Ace has stayed out. Ace, my brother, no! Ace has absolutely sold the back here because Ace has just stayed out under safety car. And he's on the hard tire, so he wants to extend that tire to as much as you can possibly get it to extend. And Archer's going to come out right behind Monkey Man Matt. So I thought Archer would have been ahead of Monkey Man Matt, but I guess not, as Luca's going to come out 8th, I think. Yeah, he's going to be 8th. He's behind NL Car. So something must have... He had a bad pit entry or something. But Archer, instead of being 5 seconds back from Monkey Man Matt, is now right on his tail. And Ace. He could have been like top 6. But see, now what is going to happen for Ace is, unless there's another safety car, he's going to be on very old tires leading the pack. So 1, that's going to hinder the racing behind him. 2, he's going to get passed by pretty much everyone because they're just going to out-traction him pretty much in every corner. And then by the time he pits, you know, in 2-3 laps time, unless, I mean, at this point he might be holding it out for the softs on lap 16 or 17. But when he pits in 3 laps time or so, he'll come out way far back behind everyone else. And at that point, the tire advantage is basically null. Like, the only way to salvage it at this point is to pit now and come out in P14 or P15 or wherever you come out in, and still have the tire, a bit of tire advantage, not as much as you would have had, but so let's see, is that what Ace is going to do? Is he going to come into the pits this lap for the mediums, or is he going to stay out? Is he going to stick with it, and is he going to try it? Of course, if there's another safety car like literally next lap, you know, that'll be fine for Ace. But and Marco with a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Dylan. It looks like Ace is committed to the strategy. No, yep, he's going to go into the pits. So the Ferrari of Ace is into the pits. He stayed out 1 lap extra, unnecessary, and he locks up into the pits. He's still going to come out in about 14th or 15th. He's going to be right behind Tommy when he comes out. And I think was he serving a penalty there? I'm not sure what happened. He spent a bit of extra time in the pits. So you will be 12th because Marco and Dylan are going to come in and box again. I think both. All right, yeah. So they both recognize that they can come in and only lose a position or 2, and they've served their penalty. So Marco and Dylan both taking opposite strategies. So Dylan going on the softs for about 11 or 12 race laps, and opposed to Marco, who's actually going to lose out to Tim Blaish. Actually, Dylan might lose out to Tim Blaish as well. Yeah, Dylan is... that was close, but Dylan's lost out to Tim Blaish there. So they both come in. They both serve their 5-second time penalty. And they still, I'm pretty sure they still have corner cutting. Yeah. So 3 for Luca, 6 for Tim Blaish, 3 and 3 and 3 for Dylan and Marco, and 5 for Blue Phoenix. And Blue Phoenix has not served this penalty, but he is going to come in and serve it now. So he has just served his penalty, and he's going to come out in 17th on the mediums. Good strategy from him, I believe. Yeah, so Matt Missile is lapped. So Matt Missile will have to let the other cars by because of blue flags. He's in between. Do not tell me that it's left gear. He's in between left gear and focus. So Matt Missile either has to be allowed to overtake and lap the safety car, like we saw at Abu Dhabi 21, or he will have to cede all these positions to the drivers behind him for blue flags and allow himself to be lapped by the rest of the grid, which kind of sucks to be a whole lap down on everyone else when you were really only lapped by like 2 or 3 or 4 of the front runners. But yeah, we have Blue Phoenix there in the background. Still in sector 2, so we will not see the safety car come in this lap. We will see it come in next lap, though. And Monkey Man Matt on a it'll be 5-lap-old medium tire will get us underway. And Arthur Crescero right behind on the hard. So if Arthur can stick behind with Monkey Man Matt, it is his race to lose. He will have the tire advantage by the end of the race. We saw him by the end of the first stint start gaining on Monkey Man Matt, taking time out of the softs. But of course, now Left Gear is absolutely back in it. Look at this now. He was 8 seconds off the lead, and now he is a mere second or two off the lead. He's got 2 cars standing in his way between a battle with him and Monkey Man Matt for the race win. So the course of the race has pretty much just changed because of the safety car. Like, absolutely has changed. And Focus is back in it really as well. Now he's in 5th. I'm not sure how he's managed to make it out in 5th from that. I saw he was down in like 9th. But he's done a good recovery then, it seems. And he is definitely back in the podium fight. But at the moment, the podium stands a Haas, Alfa Romeo, and McLaren. Monkey Man Matt, Arthur Crescero, and King Mural with Left Gear and Focus. The 2 that finished 1st and 2nd at Australia down in 4th and 5th. And now Carr up in 6th. So Merck have somewhat salvaged this race. Which actually, I found it interesting that Merck were 2nd in the constructors, because they have a good driver pairing. Don't take that in any way, shape, or form with offense, but I thought they would have been closer to like 4th in the standings. But I guess it's because like we have teams like Aston with Left Gear, and then we have Tommy, so there's a bit of a bigger gap in skill, whereas like Merck, and same thing with kind of AlphaTauri as well, where the 2 drivers are pretty evenly matched in pace. With Red Bull as well, really, I think kind of depends on the track. Monkey Man Matt is going to get us underway. Safety car is in this lap, and the Haas is going to go. He's gone early. He's gone quite early on the exit of the chicane, and that's left. King Mural and Arthur Crescero was sleeping a little bit. As Left Gear now, he's going to be burning ERS, but he's going to be too far back from the McLaren to try a lunge, and the lead of the race has not changed. Nothing has changed in the order. NL Carr putting the pressure on Focus there for a bit. Yellow's in sector 1. What is that? The whole track is just illuminated in yellow there. I think that was just oh no, that was Tommy and Blue Phoenix. Tommy down to 17th now. I believe he came together with Blue Phoenix. That whole track was illuminated. I wasn't sure for what. As Arthur Crescero has now lost 1.5 seconds to Monkey Man Matt, and Monkey Man Matt has pulled out of DRS range, so he's job done for him for now. He's just going to have to hold that gap. And of course, the pole will be dying to stay in his DRS, and he's going to be dumping the pack, trying to stay with the Haas. The gap has shrunk a little bit, but it's still 1 point. It was 1.1, now it's 1.3. And this might be King Mural's sign to get past the Alfa Romeo, because if not, he's going to be then vulnerable to Left Gear behind. And he still has a chance to catch up to Monkey Man Matt's DRS. Right now, he's going to be burning the battery. Monkey Man Matt with the fastest lap of the race. Half a second faster than King Mural. Look at this. Here comes the McLaren. He's going to go up the inside of turn 1. He's going to be ahead at turn 1. Too wide through turn 2 now, and King Mural is ahead. And that's a good move from Mural. He barely lost any time to Monkey Man Matt ahead. So now Arthur Crescero is going to be focused on defending to Left Gear. And look at this, King Mural already catching through the S section there. He caught about a 10th to Monkey Man Matt. Of course, DRS will be on next lap. So it is going to be imperative for the McLaren to A, catch the Haas ahead, and B, pull away from the Alfa Romeo, which he has a good chance of doing, as Arthur is a bit slow on those hards for now, as he's pulled out 9/10 of a gap behind. And then the two of them, oh, they're too wide there. And Arthur has absolutely just pulled across the track there. And a bit of wheel banging between him and Lefkier. That was very not nice. And oh, some wheel banging again there. And now Focus is going to go for a move on Arthur Kushewa, who's closed the door on the Williams, but he's kept it going. And Arthur is falling down the positions there. A bit of, well, dirty driving there, I would say, from the Alfa Romeo after pulling one across the track on Lefkier and then closing the door on Focus. But they've made him pay, and they're up the order now, 3rd and 4th for Lefkier. And DRS is enabled. King Miro is 2 seconds back from Monkey Man Matt, and Lefkier 1.3 seconds back from King Miro. So we should expect to see Lefkier and King Miro fight, but I am just not sure if Lefkier... Oh my! Monkey Man Matt has picked up a 3-second time penalty. So that completely changes the trajectory of the race from an offensive race from an offensive race for King Miro to now a defensive race for him. He's going to be trying to keep Lefkier behind because he is now in the lead of the race, but Lefkier has caught up to his DRS. The gap is 8/10 now, and Focus is again in contention. So if Focus can pull out a banging lap here and catch up to the two of them, which he is sort of doing at the moment, then he can be in the contention for the race win again. Of course, Monkey Man Matt can still win this because if King Miro and Lefkier start fighting, then he has a chance to pull away further. But I think what King Miro recognizes is that he would rather let Lefkier go and be dragged on by Lefkier and take P2 that way than lose out the 3-second gap to Focus, to Monkey Man Matt, and run the risk of being overtaken and lose out a podium in full. So we'll see what happens. The gap increasing, but now Lefkier, if he would get past, he would be in the lead of the race. And look at this, ERS on, DRS on, and look at how quick that Aston Martin is. Using all the toe, he's going to go to a very inside line, but he's going to get the move done before the corner even comes. So an incredibly fast Aston Martin there on the straights. That setup must be really good for Lefkier, as he's now within 2 seconds of Monkey Man Matt, and I think this race is pretty much case closed at this point, unless Lefkier picks up a penalty, but I don't think we've ever seen him do that in OFR. So, not sure if that's going to happen. King Miro, though, sticking with him, and Tim Blake has retired. Is that going to be another safety car? No, that isn't. He has retired in the pits. So a bad race for Tim Blake. We saw him say that his quality times weren't too bad, and indeed, they might not have been, but we did not see him have a chance to showcase those times. And look at this, yeah, King Miro being dragged along by the Aston. He has more battery than the Aston, so maybe I prematurely called off the race, and we could still see this three-way battle for the race lead here. As we head up to 130R, 8 laps remaining of the race. Is there anyone else fighting? I think Dylan maybe is trying to have a go at Wukarda for the lower points positions, but yeah, so okay. Venture Robot and Tommy PLR swapping places there. But let's take a look at this. Now here comes Focus, King Miro, and Lefkier down the straight. But Lefkier, that gap was like 3/10, and then it shot up to about half a second. So I think King Miro might have just had a bad exit through the chicane. And look at this, the whole pack, all three of them are catching Monkey Man, and they're catching him rapidly. And King Miro knows that he needs to get this overtake done now if he wants to be in contention for the lead of the race, because then Lefkier, he's going to latch onto the DRS of Monkey Man Mad, and he's just going to pull away. And that's game, set, match for him, as King Miro getting stuck on the curb there on the exit of Degner 2, losing him about a 10th. And he, of course, used the ERS to make up for that. But he gets close through the hairpin. And look at this. I'm not sure what happened to Monkey Man Matt. Maybe he burned all his battery. He got demotivated or something with that 3-second time penalty, because he's just lost a lot of time to Lefkier. And Lefkier is in his DRS now. And a wide line through Spoon as well. And that might be the end for King Miro, who is now 8/10 back. He's going to burn the pack. He's going to want to burn the pack to stay with the Aston. Better exit out of Spoon for him. And a nice line through 130R means that the gap has shrunk down now to 6/10. And oh, King Miro losing it on the exit of the chicane. And that's lost him about a 10th there. He had to take a wider line, but he is going to get that time back if he uses ERS and DRS on the straight. I think that might have also been a bit of a visual glitch for me because that looked like a much bigger snap than it really was. And Ace making his way back up the positions, by the way. Good to see. He stayed out at an extra lap under the safety car. So he's got a lap advantage on the tires of a lot of people around him. But he is making his way up now. And he's got Dylan ahead of him. Dylan, of course, does have a penalty. But let's go back up to the top. Look at this left gear within 2/10 now. And getting stuck on Degner 2. Monkey Man Matt holding him up a little bit now into the hairpin. And this is good for King Miro. But now is left gear going to try to get past without even using the DRS. We've seen how fast this Aston is on the straight. Left gear, 2/10 back from Monkey Man Matt. Breaking early into Spoon, taking the apex very narrow line. But he's gone wide through Spoon there, and that's compromised his exit. And if King Miro burns the pack a little bit, which is what he's doing, that's allowed him to catch about a 0.5 to the Aston ahead. But that slipstream is just so strong. Look at this. Is he going to try and move up the inside of the chicane? No, he doesn't. That would have been a stellar overtake, but I think he makes the better decision to stay behind. And we've seen a lot of drivers struggle on the exit of the chicane here. We saw in real life as well. Alonso, and now here comes left gear on track for the first time in 10 laps, 15 laps for the lead of the race. He's going to go around the outside, but look at that. Monkey Man Matt holds it around the inside. Monkey Man Matt has held the lead of the race through turn 1, and I thought for sure we were going to see left gear sweep around the outside, but Monkey Man Matt with a great defense, and that's allowed now Focus and King Miro to catch up. And at the moment the podium is 1 left gear, 2 King Miro, 3 Focus. So I'm sure he's happy sticking behind the Haas for now, but he does not want to be overtaken by the McLaren, which, I mean, of course, is probably what King Miro wants. And left gear deep into the hairpin, almost touching the Haas there. And that's allowed King Miro to gain a 10th on him. So this is just very close. Meanwhile, Ace is overtaken. Dylan will go back to him once he catches up to Showcrime, if he does, who's got a 4-second gap to NL Carr, who sits in 6th place now because Luca has that time penalty. Yellow flag in Sector 1. That is Matt Missile in turn 6. And apologies. Apologies for that. But nothing has changed, thankfully. So we are still back right where we were. And is the lead going to change hands once again? Left gear, we saw him get ahead of Monkey Man Matt momentarily. And we're going to see him get ahead of him for the entire length of his straight this time. And left gear now on track in the lead of the race. And King Miro knows he's going to have to get past that Haas now, or else trouble there might be, because Monkey Man Matt is already losing time to left gear ahead. The gap is now 0.5 second. And Ace has caught up to Showcrime, by the way. The gap is now 0.3, where it was 9 a couple laps ago. And left gear burning the pack a little bit. He's pulled out 0.8 now to Monkey Man Matt. And King Miro really struggling to find that much time to get past the Haas. So left gear, I think, was sort of just nursing the tires behind the Haas and just looking for any possible opportunity to overtake, as Ace is out of the session. What has happened there? It's a huge crash. Luca, Showcrime, and Ace, and that is a full safety car yet again on lap 23. And Monkey Man Matt, that's really bad for Monkey Man Matt now, because a lot of drivers are gonna be in his 3-second time penalty now, and that is Showcrime and Ace that are out. Luca was involved in the collision as well. The Alpine is left without a front wing, so he's gonna have to box for softs under a safety car. Now, will we see any of these guys box? I don't think they should box. If they do, they'll come out in about 7th. And left gear, is he gonna stay out? Is he gonna go in? Left gear has stayed out. That is ostensibly the right decision. And left gear gets to now. So I think this is a sort of a split scenario for left gear. Now, on one hand, he gets to recharge the batteries. On the other hand, the 1 second, almost 1 second gap he pulled out now is basically eviscerated. And Arthur, NL Carr, and Dylan all come in to go for soft. So Mercedes electing the double stack. Ricardo comes in behind as well. Same thing with Luca. So could we see potentially Arthur win this race now, because he's came out in 5th place and everyone ahead of him 13 lap, 13 lap, 12 lap, 12 lap. So I assume the safety car is going to be in next lap and we'll see 2 laps of racing action. And will that be enough for Arthur Castrewa now on these fresh tires to beat everyone else to the line? And I think Arthur sort of took this gamble thinking that, well, I'm at 9 seconds out of NL Car in the first place. But the thing is, right, if I box, people are going to start following me in because they think they're going to get a free stop. And that's worked out perfectly for him. And I mean, I don't see why someone like Monkey Man, well, I guess I can see why someone like Monkey Man Matt didn't do that. But like Focus should have probably done that. But the top 4 and Reshkone have decided to stay out on their tires. Everyone boxing for the softs except for Ricardo and Marco, who have gone on to the mediums. I think they both started on the softs anyway. Yeah, actually, I don't think left gear, I don't think any of these guys had any tires. And they would have to go into the hards, so it might not have been worth it for them in the first place. So yeah, so my apologies. So understandable why these guys didn't pit. This is going to absolutely shake up the end of the race now, because if I would be a gambling man, which, well, I am, I would put my money on Arthur Castrewa to, if not win this race, at least come second. Because I think he would be hoping for 3 laps of racing action, but there are just a couple drivers who are too far behind. But now the safety car has to come in this lap. It's not like real life. And Tommy with a 5-second penalty picks up a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Dylan. So could it have been a brake check? Could it have just been recklessness by Tommy? Let's see. Has he picked up any damage? It doesn't look like it. Looks like that car is fine. But 2 laps, 3 minutes, about 10 kilometers, 11, 12 kilometers around this track is a lot of time for Arthur to get a move on. Which, I mean, for Arthur, I think, is 1, out traction focus on the exit of the chicane at the restart. 2, send one up the inside of King Mural in the chicane. 3, out traction Monkey Man Matt on the exit of the chicane again. And 4, find a way past left gear on the last lap. You have a 13 lap advantage on your tires and you are on a better compound. You should be about 2 to 3 seconds faster than these guys. This is going to be a very interesting finale. I don't think anyone expected it to go down this route. But for the viewer, this is an absolute pleasure. I think this is Arthur's race to lose, as long as he, keeps his focus. He emerges as king. He becomes the man, and he beats left gear. He can win this race. Not much to talk about really under the safety car, but 14 drivers remaining of 20, I think, is the lowest we've seen all season, as the cars are slowly catching up to the safety car. Now only Marco and Matt Missile left, and Marco has just caught the pack. Matt Missile is very close to catching it. But oh my, Matt Missile. What is happening here? I think he's unlapping himself. Not sure. Is he allowed to do this? I'm not sure if this is a correct decision from Matt Missile to try to be unlapping himself at this time. He's going to get a drive-through penalty for ignoring yellow flags. What is going on here? So Matt Missile has just taken his chance and he's unlapped himself. And now here comes Arthur Castrewa. He's going to be burning the pack, but King Mural and Focus are too wide. I think he has the grip to send one around the outside of the McLaren, but he's going to play it safe. And look at just how much strides he is making through this turn. But those two cars being too wide is not good for him at all. Oh, and they've touched. There's contact between King Mural and Focus and Flats. Focus dropping down the order. Now here comes Artur Kostreva. He's re-lapped the Alpine, and now he needs to get past King Mural quick because Monkey Man Matt and Left Gear have pulled out a lot of time now. 1.4 seconds. Artur Kostreva through the two Degners. He just needs a better exit out of Degner 1. Now he can send one up the inside of King Mural. He can absolutely out traction, but he's just too far back. But they are catching. They are both catching the two drivers ahead. And look at this, Artur Kostreva with a lot better traction. He is burning the pack. King Mural is also as well as they come through Spoon. Is he going to go for a move through Spoon? No, he isn't. He's going to try maybe around the outside, but he's lost a bit of traction. I think he went a little bit wide. Now maybe through 130R. That would be a stunning overtake, but I think he's, again, just too far back because King Mural is holding on to that position like he's holding on to it for dear life. But look at this. So much faster through 130R, but just not enough space through the chicane. Now he just needs to out traction the McLaren. He has more ERS as well, and he's absolutely out traction the McLaren. He's going to get him on this straight, and that's going to move him up to P3, P2 in totality. Monkey Man Matt and Left Gear fighting. Is Monkey Man Matt going to try to go for a move around the outside? No, he isn't. But the gap now is 1.1 seconds, and that gap is shrinking rapidly. Now it's down to 7/10. Is Artur Kostreva going to win this Grand Prix? 10 more corners remaining for the Alfa Romeo to try to get past both of these drivers. And oh my, he's almost gone around the outside of turn 7 there. Artur Kostreva now coming through Degner 1 and Degner 2. And he is just so much faster than these cars, as he should be. And Monkey Man Matt with a slide on the exit of Degner 2. Are we going to see a move up the inside from Artur Kostreva from a long way back? And he's going to force the Haas to go defensive. And Artur Kostreva is going to out-traction him. Now he's going to have to turn the ERS on. But Monkey Man Matt has held the position somehow. Tommy PLR has retired from the session. And Artur Kostreva has stuck behind the Haas. But here through Spoon, they come now, and it's going to be up towards 130R. Look at how close they are getting, and Artur Kostreva just a bit too late on the gas, and I think Left Gear is going to run away with it, but if you had given him one more lap, he would have absolutely won this race. Through 130R now, he is way too far back, but wait a minute, is Monkey Man Matt going to go for a move on Left Gear? Could this change the whole thing? Artur Kostreva, could he go for a switchback? I think it is just a tad bit too late. As Artur Kostreva comes across the line, he will take P2 by half a second, less than that, a quarter of a second. And NL Carr will end up on the podium somehow. The Mercedes has made his way up to P3, and Monkey Man Matt will finish P4 with the penalty. And I think if Artur Kostreva was, if it was Left Gear, and if it wasn't Monkey Man Matt that was in second place, then Artur Kostreva would have absolutely won this Grand Prix. But man, was that close at the end. That was all down to a couple tenths of a second. And Left Gear is going to take his third consecutive win of this season, unless he's given a penalty, which would promote Artur to first place. But he didn't do anything this race. A clean race all around from Left Gear, and a good win for him as he takes the top step of the podium yet again. 3 wins for him, 3 wins for Aston Martin on the season, and a good drive to hold on to the position at the end there. Well, against all odds, really. I think Artur was preparing to have his name on that trophy, but he just came out in second. And NL Carr, I believe that is his first spot on the podium, first appearance on the podium this season for Mercedes, and he does take driver of the day. Meanwhile, Monkey Man Matt takes the fastest lap of the 29.591. Interesting that Artur Kostreva did not take the time on the softs, but he was being held up by some of the medium runners at the end there. So that is your standings. 12 drivers finished. 13 and 14, Tommy and Matt Missile credited for a finish at the end because they finished with 1 lap to go. I think Matt Missile was just lapped, and then Tommy only finished 26 laps, so he's still technically finished ahead of him. The two Slovaks there in 12th and 13th. Matt Missile managing to pick up 45 seconds of time penalties, and Marco with 26. But here we go. Monkey Man Matt, King Miro, Dr. Robot, I Dylan, Blue Phoenix, Focus That Game, Reshko and Mukarta, Marco, Tommy, Matt, Luca, Showcrime, Ace, Tim Blaish, and Branch Schnitzel and Ben. All 8 of those guys DNF'd, or 7 of those guys DNF'd. Those are your standings. Left Gear has increased his advantage at the top of the field, as have Aston Martin. But will we see that change next week? Of course, if we take a look at the calendar, 8 races this season as we run up until the 11th of May. And next week, we will be at the infamous Jeddah Corniche Circuit in Saudi Arabia. Same time, same place. Next week, the 13th of April. I'm pretty sure at this point we are just asking for more carnage. But this race turned out to be interesting for sure. And I'm sure that a race at Jeddah on the streets under the lights will also prove to be interesting. And that will be, of course, the halfway point of the season. So make sure to come back and watch the race at Jeddah on the 13th of April at 17 o'clock UK time.